I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
He was sworn in as Vice President, but was to many the power behind the throne. Rising from youngest ever White House Chief of Staff under Gerald Ford to become George Bush Sr.'s Defense Secretary and ultimately running mate for George W.
I am proud to have Dick Cheney by my side, and America will be proud to have him as our next Vice President.
As Defense Secretary, he'd overseen Operation Desert Storm, the US-led campaign to oust Iraqi forces from Kuwait.
3 o'clock Thursday morning in the Gulf, the armed forces of the United States began an operation at the direction of the President.
And when al-Qaeda attacked America on 9/11, the new Vice President led the response. An architect of the war on terror, leading the charge on claims that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, now known to be false.
There is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction. There is no doubt that he is amassing them to use them against our friends, against our allies, and against us.
If his defence of enhanced interrogation methods was controversial, his push for that invasion of Iraq was disastrous.
He'll mostly be remembered for the difficult war on terror, especially the mistake going into Iraq and the execution of that war. But I do think he'll be remembered, at least in the States, in the U.S., for his longer legacy or his longer time in and around government.
He faced scrutiny over claims that Halliburton, the energy giant he once led, had profited from government contracts in Iraq. There were personal setbacks too, an embarrassing quail hunting accident when he shot and wounded his friend Harry Whittington. For a man long accused of overstepping constitutional boundaries himself, he had become an unlikely critic of President Trump, publicly endorsing Kamala Harris.
In our nation's 246-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump.
And questions about the funeral drew this curt response from the White House.
I don't believe the White House is involved in that planning, or at least hasn't gotten to it yet. I know the president is aware of the former vice president's passing, and as you saw, flags have been lowered to half staff in accordance with statutory law.
A paradox of power and controversy. Dick Cheney leaves a complex legacy as the most consequential vice president in modern US history. David Blevins, Sky News in Washington.